Kidnapped Santa by Analynn Riley. Chapter 2. Gone. "It can't be," shouted Grandpa. "They were all here last night." The adults looked at each other and began talking so fast, and all at the same time, I only got bits of their conversations. "I saw them when I put oranges in the stockings," said Grandma. "They were here when I got up for a cup of water just before midnight," said Mum, while Dad was muttering, "I didn't hear anyone come during the night. Wouldn't Yuki bark or something if a stranger came, especially if he came inside the house?" Uncle and Auntie were comforting Makenna, who was crying. "I saved and saved all my money to buy that present for Liam. I don't have any money left to buy another gift. What'll I do?" "What'd you get me?" Liam asked. Makenna was about to tell him when she stopped herself and said, "What if Santa missed Christmas Eve because he had a cold or something? Maybe he'll come tonight." "Maybe he will," Lauren said as she walked closer to Makenna. "We could all have a nice Christmas dinner and go to bed as if it were Christmas Eve, and maybe, just maybe, Santa'll come." I had a thought. "Dad, is it possible that the time change messed things up?" Right after I opened my mouth to ask this question, I realized what a stupid question it was. Of course the time change didn't make any difference. With no Santa Claus in the first place, time zones wouldn't matter. "Forget it, Dad, I figured it out." Hopefully my dad wouldn't think I had slipped back to being a little kid who believed in the Santa myth. "Lauren may have a good idea," Grandma said. "Why not carry on with the day? The sun's out, the snow is deep and fresh, great sledding weather." "But what about Christmas? What about presents?" Makenna questioned. "We'll work it out," Auntie soothed. "It will all work out just fine." She hugged Makenna. "It is a beautiful day. How about sledding?" "Sledding! Yay!" us kids yelled. Before too long, we'd gobbled down some scrambled eggs and waffles, and were now bundled up in snowsuits and sledding on the long lane that ran down the hill from the house. The hard part was climbing all the way back up the hill again. Liam soon figured out that if he put his sled rope around Yuki's neck, Yuki would pull him and his sled up the lane. So that's what we did. Grandpa wasn't too pleased with us when he saw this. He put a stop to it, and so we were back to climbing up the big hill without Yuki's help, though he stayed with us the entire time. One by one, as our noses had gotten redder and redder, we ended up inside the house. Of course, the girls had gone in first. Liam and I had kept on sledding until we couldn't feel our noses or our toes anymore. It wasn't until we had our wet snowsuits off and put some dry clothes on that we got all upset again about the missing Christmas presents. I walked over to the corner in the living room so I could hear what Lauren and Makenna were talking about. "My mum can call my other grandma and grandpa in Toronto and see if things are bad there," offered Lauren. "Grandpa could call and see if Janice and Marie got any presents." Janice and Marie were our older cousins who lived in a city called Victoria on an island by the ocean in another part of Canada. They never once came to the ranch for Christmas. I don't think I would recognize them if they did show up. The only pictures any of us have of Janice and Marie are when they were babies. Now they were in high school, so they probably looked quite different. "Maybe there's a news report on TV," Lauren squealed. She took Makenna into the family room and turned the TV on. I decided to follow. "Children the world over are wondering what happened to Santa Claus last night. As of this moment, it remains an unsolved mystery." By now everyone had found a seat around the television and had heard this awful news. For someone who didn't believe in Santa Claus, even I was puzzled. "I'll phone the insurance company on Tuesday. Maybe we can at least recover some of our costs for the missing presents." Grandpa stomped out of the family room. Mom and Dad followed Grandpa back into the kitchen to help prepare the turkey dinner. Auntie and Uncle began setting the table, but I could see that they were both very serious about this entire matter. Lauren and McKenna went to help with the table. "Well, girls, we have quite a problem here. Agreed?" said Auntie. Both girls shook their heads. "Santa has to come tonight," Lauren said. "He has my kitty." Tears were running down her cheeks. "I wanted a Meccano set, so I didn't have to borrow Liam's when I want to build something." Then Auntie spoke. "Let's brainstorm and see if we can come up with an idea on how to solve this mystery." I decided to help set the table so I could hear more about Auntie's idea. "What's brainstorming?" I asked. Liam was putting knives next to the plates. "We always do it in our house," he said. "It's when we say the first idea that pops into our head whenever we try to solve problems. No one can laugh at any of the ideas. They're not good ideas or bad ideas, just possibilities. Then we vote on favorite ideas and we work on them," added McKenna. She was smiling now. Oddly, we were all starting to feel better. "Okay, so let's brainstorm," I blurted out. McKenna looked at me swiftly and said, You want to brainstorm on how to find Santa Claus? I thought you didn't believe in Santa." "Who said anything about finding Santa?" I snapped. "I don't care about some old guy who doesn't exist. I care about all the presents that were under the tree. Someone has them, and I want them back." It seemed like forever before we got into brainstorming. It was fun. Of course, Lauren said some really stupid things even though we're the same age, but no one laughed. Auntie just kept writing all the ideas down, and then we went over them. "Could I use your computer?" Liam asked Grandpa, who was slicing the gigantic turkey. Grandpa had a supercomputer, and Liam knew how to use it. Liam's dad would help him with the internet. "My mom can really talk on the phone and get lots of information," said Lauren. "Hey, Mom, would you make some calls?" Of course, Mom agreed to help. She always helped Lauren whenever Lauren had a special project to work on. But I had the best idea of all. "Dad, you could find out through the post office if someone has shipped large boxes of toys somewhere in the world." "I can try," Dad offered, as he placed turkey dressing into a bowl. Grandma came over and joined our group. I certainly wouldn't mind helping out. Lauren said loudly, "I'll tell Yuki to send a barking message to all the dogs in Canada. He could bark to the dogs around here, and they would bark to other dogs, and soon all the dogs in Canada, and maybe even in the United States, would be passing on the message. And the dog that smelled Santa or the presents could bark a message back and tell all the other dogs, and maybe wolves and coyotes too, and where Santa and the presents are." "That's the best idea," said McKenna. "Yuki likes you most, so talk to him right now." I didn't think it was any great idea. Lauren always thought about things she saw in movies, like this dog idea. With all the adults around, I wasn't going to tell my sister how stupid it was to think dogs really could bark messages to each other. "I could tap out a message and we could record it and then email it around the world," said McKenna. "I learned some new dance moves. It would be sort of like Morse code, except with my feet in tap shoes." Everyone was smiling. She was only 6, so no one wanted to laugh at her suggestion, me included, especially with all the parents nearby. "Let's see what we can do, darling." Auntie always spoke nicely to kids, like they were grown-ups. No baby talk. "Dinner's ready. Grandpa called out as he brought the turkey platter to the table. "Let's eat before everything gets cold." I wasn't hungry anymore. I was really getting into this detective stuff. That's when Yuki started barking and barking. He ran out of the room, and when he did, we could feel the floor shake because he's so heavy and big. He stood at the front door, barking and growling his dangerous growl. Suddenly, no one was hungry. We froze.